Every day is a holiday. And you don't gotta go to work today. Every day is a holiday.
Welcome back to the Aspen Meadows Resort. You're watching Plum. This is the Morning, Noon, and Night Show. Of course, celebrating Food and Wine's classic here in the Aspen area. This is, of course, the 25th anniversary, and right now, Mark Oldman is joining me, and he's got some great tips for anybody out there that's trying to learn a little bit about wine. Welcome, and good morning to you.
Great to be here, Tori.
Thanks for being here. Well, we've got a lot to talk about with you, really. I want to first point out Oldman's Guide to Outsmarting Wine. And outsmarting wine, why don't you tell us a little bit, how did you choose that title? What's outsmarting wine mean?
Well, I wanted people to know that this was something a little bit different. It isn't your normal wine book with a cluster of grapes on the cover and it's going to bore you to sleep. I wanted people to feel like this was an on-ramp to wine, because I can't tell you how many people I know, including a lot of Plum TV type viewers who are otherwise sophisticated, but when it comes to wine, they throw up their hands and they say, I know nothing about wine. So I really wanted to give them, I call it 108 shortcuts to conquer any wine situation. So basically, nuggets of wine wisdom front-loaded. I don't want people to have to search through 8 pages to get one little nugget. I want to front-load it and make it easy and practical and easily implemented.
So not hiding the ball, so to speak. You're putting it right out there in front. Do you mind sharing just 1 or 2 tips or some information from the book?
Not at all. Well, for example, a lighter red wine is the safest choice if you have a group of people. Some people like red, some people like white. A Pinot Noir, Chinon, Beaujolais, that straddles the level, or straddles the area of white wine food and red wine food, and will please even blancophiles, people who love white wine, but it's still red, so you're covering all bases. So that's one of my favorite bits of advice. What else? If you're in a restaurant and you have no idea what to order, ask your server, what does the chef drink when he or she is off duty? Because it tends to be something not that expensive, but the hidden gem on the menu.
I'm sure a lot of the chefs that are in town for Food and Wine are like, now that is a great tip. I do know what I'm drinking.
They know.
How did you get your start? How did you become a wine critic, so to speak?
And when I was in college at Stanford, I started a wine club called the Stanford Wine Circle. Wine Spectator called it America's first wine fraternity, but there were women in it, so I guess it was kind of a fraternity/sorority. And I thought we'd have to pay the winemakers to come down from Napa Valley. And it was, au contraire, it was the inverse. They were chomping at the bit to wean wine on to the next generation of wine drinkers. Plus, there's the Stanford Mall, and Napa Valley didn't have a lot of retail stores at that time. So the winemakers loved to come down and shop at Nordstrom and all that. And then thirdly, the winemakers loved to be around these co-eds. And they got into a little bit of trouble that way. So there was a lot of attraction down at Stanford. I ran about 40 of those, and I learned so much about wine that I started teaching it myself.
Fantastic. Let's talk a little bit about what you're doing here in Aspen at the Food and Wine Classic. You're going to be giving a seminar on alternatives to champagne. Well, it's sparkling substitutes.
That's right.
Is the name of it. And that's Sunday, tomorrow, 10:30 to 11:15. And let's talk a little bit about it. We actually have 2 examples here. We have the Charles Heidsieck, of course. This is the official champagne for the 25th anniversary.
Yes.
And then we have an American sparkling over here. And so talk to us a little bit about sparkling substitutes.
Well, I love champagne, and I was talking to you, before the show, and I know you love it too.
I do.
Nothing beats real champagne from the region called Champagne in France. It's very labor-intensive to make. They induce a second fermentation in the bottle. But here's the problem. It's usually at least $40. And, so it's difficult for many people to drink it every day. So I recommend to people something called BSD, bubbly stunt doubles. So a little rougher around the edges, but they get the job done. All right, so probably my favorite bubbly stunt double, the one I'm teaching this weekend, is Prosecco. Prosecco from Italy. I call it Italian champagne, even though champagne is really supposed to just be labeled as the place from France. But my friends don't know the difference. Unless I'm around wine snobs, I'll call it Italian champagne. It's about $8 a bottle. and it's so bubbly and uplifting. It makes people so happy. I nickname it Prozacco, and it's delicious. And one of the things about Prosecco and other bubbly stunt doubles like American sparkling wine or German Sekt is you should consider drinking it throughout a meal, throughout dinner.
So not just to start it off, or not just with dessert, not just for the formal toast that a lot of people do. You're saying this goes with a lot of great foods?
Oh my God, bubbly, especially these bubbly stunt doubles, because they tend to be casual wines, like cava from Spain. You could have it with pizza, you could have it with eggs, you could have it with sushi. It goes great with the soy sauce. Any salty food, I love, and I don't know if you have it out here, I love Popeye's fried chicken with cava. That is a match made in heaven. But people save bubbly for birthdays and ball drops, and it's such a shame. What I tell people to do is buy the $8 stuff or the $15 stuff. May not be from France, but it will get the job done, and then you can stock it like soda. It's cheap enough where you can just fill the fridge with it. And the thing about it is, order it in restaurants. The Prosecco will usually be one of the least expensive things on the menu. It's going to go with most foods, and then check this out. Especially in a place like Aspen, which is very celebratory. The server brings the bottle to your table. Everyone in the restaurant looks at the shiny bucket. The woman over there is looking at her husband she's bored with, and she said, well, what are they celebrating? My God. Meanwhile, you've ordered one of the least expensive things on the menu. And it's going to pop, it's going to be festive, celebratory, and you're going to be the envy of the restaurant.
Fantastic tips from you. And that again, Sunday, June 17th, 10:30 to 11:15. At that seminar, are you going to be doing any tastings of some of those bottles, or just talking about the subject?
I would never do a seminar without tastings. There'll be ample bubbly for everybody.
Thank you very much. A couple of interesting facts that I found out from your website. Not only the to order Pinot, as you say, to please the table, but something that is interesting. Costco is a great wine retailer.
Unbelievable. Believe it or not, it's one of the world's, if not the world's largest purveyor of Dom Perignon. So Costco isn't just about the cheap stuff, although cheap stuff can be good, but they have a first growth Bordeaux sometimes. I've known billionaires who fly in their Learjets to get a good deal at Costco because they only mark up their wine over 14%. So, unlike really expensive merchants who really want to get as much as they can, Costco is bound by that 14% rule. To check it out myself, I went to the illustrious Wayne, New Jersey Costco, and Jersey, baby, and I looked at the shelf, and there was a 2000 Mouton Rothschild. That's a Premier Cru Bordeaux. Top of the line Cat's Meow Bordeaux, and it was for $267. And for anyone, that's a lot for a bottle of wine. But while I was at the Costco, I called other wine merchants who I thought had that wine. Like, how much do you have the 2000 Mouton for? $480, $510. So it was actually a great deal at Costco.
It's half price.
Bought one bottle. They went to check it out. She saw $267, and she's like, $2.67. For a bottle? No, it's $267. But it was still a deal because it's all relative.
Mark, I want to thank you for joining me today. This has been a great interview. I've learned a lot. I will not be a champagne snob anymore. I'll try some of the other substitutes. Thank you very much.
Great
Sunday again, 10:30 to 11:15. This is Mark Oldman. You're watching Plum and the Morning, Noon, and Night Show. We'll be back with more. Here's the champagne thing.